The Notch Hill heritage buildings are a precious part of the Shuswap's history and culture. They include the Notch Hill Town Hall, the White Church and the one-room schoolhouse, all built in the early 20th century. These buildings have witnessed the development of Notch Hill as a railway town, where everything arrived by train and the steam engine was the main source of transportation. They have also served as community hubs for generations of residents, hosting events, classes, markets, and weddings. However, these buildings are now facing serious threats and challenges that could jeopardize their future. One of the main challenges is the lack of funding to maintain and restore them. The Notch Hill Town Hall Association, a group of volunteers dedicated to preserving the heritage site, estimates that the old schoolhouse alone needs about $580,000 worth of renovations to make it accessible and functional for modern use. The association relies on donations, grants, and fundraising events to cover the costs, but these sources are not enough to meet the demand. Another challenge is the pressure from development plans that could encroach on the land and the character of Notch Hill. The hamlet is located near Sorrento, B. A town that is growing rapidly and attracting more visitors and investors. While this could bring some benefits to the area, it could also pose a risk to the heritage buildings if they are not protected and valued by the local authorities and the public. A third challenge is the deterioration of the buildings due to age, weather, and vandalism. The buildings are over 100 years old and need constant care and attention to prevent them from falling apart. They are also exposed to harsh weather conditions that can damage their structure and appearance. Moreover, they are sometimes targeted by vandals who break windows, spray graffiti, or steal items from inside. These challenges are not insurmountable, but they require urgent action and support from all stakeholders. The Notch Hill heritage buildings are not only historical landmarks, but also living symbols of the Shuswap's identity and spirit. They deserve to be preserved and celebrated for generations to come. In this section, we will provide some examples of successful preservation efforts in other places and how they benefited the community and the environment. Preservation is not only about saving old buildings from demolition, but also about respecting the cultural and historical values of a place, enhancing its identity and character, and promoting social and economic well-being. One of the most remarkable examples of preservation is the relocation of the Abu Simbel temples in Egypt. These ancient monuments, built by Pharaoh Ramses II in the 13th century BC, were threatened by the construction of the Aswan High Dam in the 1960s, which would have submerged them underwater. UNESCO launched an international campaign to save them, which involved cutting the temples into large blocks, moving them to higher ground, and reassembling them in their original orientation. This monumental project was completed in 1968 and preserved not only the temples, but also their astronomical alignment with the sun. The Abu Simbel temples are now a World Heritage Site and a major tourist attraction, generating income and employment for the local community. Another example of preservation is the rehabilitation of historic buildings for new uses. This approach allows to adapt old structures to modern needs, while retaining their architectural and cultural significance. For instance, in Australia, many heritage buildings have been converted into hotels, restaurants, museums, offices, or residential units. This not only preserves the historic fabric of the city, but also enhances its attractiveness and livability. Moreover, reusing existing buildings reduces waste and energy consumption, contributing to environmental sustainability. A third example of preservation is the recognition and safeguarding of intangible heritage, such as traditions, languages, crafts, music, dance, rituals, and festivals. Intangible heritage is a source of identity and creativity for communities around the world. It also reflects their knowledge and skills in adapting to their natural and social environments. UNESCO has established several conventions and programs to protect and promote intangible heritage, such as the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage, 2003, the Representative List of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity, and the Intangible Cultural Heritage Fund. These initiatives aim to raise awareness of the diversity and value of intangible heritage, support its transmission to future generations, and foster international cooperation and dialogue. These examples show that preserving our heritage is not only a moral duty, but also a smart choice. Heritage can bring social, economic, and environmental benefits to our communities and our planet. It can also inspire us to face the challenges of today and tomorrow with confidence and creativity.